a quiet journey into the heart of gravity's most secret chambers, where light surrenders and time bends, where silence speaks in ripples and shadows, cradle stars. Tonight, you will fall asleep at the edge of the unknowable and float gently toward the center of everything and nothing. You begin with your body, not your thoughts, not your dreams, not even the rhythm of your breath, just the weight of your body against the bed, the softness of the sheets beneath you, the way your chest rises and falls without asking. And if you notice closely, you are not floating. You are not drifting into the air, like smoke or steam or song. You are being held by something vast and gentle and always there. Held by gravity. It's strange how you forget it. How this invisible presence, this unseen whisper of a force, pulls you toward the earth with every breath, and yet it never raises its voice. You do not fall into the ground. You do not crash downward as the planets spin. You simply rest, always being pulled, always being supported. Gravity is not a push, not a command. It is a quiet reminder. You belong here. Now let your imagination stretch just a little farther. Let it hover above your home, drift slowly past your rooftop, the treetops, the clouds, until you see Earth from the quiet air above it, a blue sphere, a floating cradle, and around it, the moon circling like a quiet guardian, tides breathing in and out, all of it held in orbit by the same invisible tether that holds you. Gravity does not need ropes. It speaks in curves and balances, in pullings and fallings that shape the paths of stars. It is a sculptor of orbits, a composer of motion, and all this began not with a planet or a moon or a falling apple, but with a quiet thought. Sir Isaac Newton, sitting beneath a tree, wondered why the apple fell straight down, not sideways, not upward, down, as if called by something unseen. But even Newton could not know then that the gravity pulling the apple to the ground was the same force that kept the moon circling Earth, and Earth circling the sun, and the sun bound to the heart of our galaxy. You may think of gravity as a force, a pushing or pulling, but maybe it's simpler and more beautiful than that. Imagine a soft bedsheet stretched tight. Place a ball in its center. The fabric curves, dips, makes space for the ball's weight. Now roll a smaller ball across. The sheet, it doesn't move straight. It curves, it spirals, it dances toward the heavy one in the middle. That's gravity. Not a pull, but a curve in the fabric of space and time itself. Mass bends space, and bent space tells objects how to move. This is what Einstein saw, years after Newton, a deeper truth wrapped in silence. Your body bends space too, not much, just a whisper of a curve beneath your skin, a gentle fold in the fabric around you. The Earth's curve is deeper, the sun's deeper still, and when something becomes heavy enough, so heavy that even light cannot escape it, then the curve becomes a canyon, a well with no bottom, a shadow you cannot climb out of. We call that a black hole. But before we go there, before we plunge into that deep silence, you must understand how ordinary this story begins, with a falling apple, with the moon's orbit, with your weight on the mattress tonight. All of it is gravity, pulling gently, always towards something. There is comfort in this, that even the stars follow a path, that even galaxies feel the tug of something greater than themselves. Look at your hand, resting by your side. The blood inside flows downward, not by magic, but by gravity's silent stream. Look at the sea, tides rising and falling, the water pulled not just by Earth, but by the moon, far above, a love story written in ocean breath. Even when you close your eyes, your body knows this pull. You lean toward the ground, toward the center, toward something older than thought. And it's not just Earth. Every planet in the solar system balances in gravity's quiet embrace, like marbles in motion, circling the sun's deep well. Mercury, fast and close. Venus, warm and veiled. Earth, blue and breathing. Mars, rust red and whispering of rivers long gone. All of them dancing, all of them falling endlessly toward the sun, but always missing, always curving around instead. That's what orbits are. Not fixed roads, but graceful fallings that never land. The moon does not float. The moon falls and falls and falls, but the earth curves away beneath it in a perfect duet, and gravity sings. It sings in spiral galaxies in the way. Saturn's rings never scatter in the tilt of comets, and the glide of stardust through ancient light. But it is not always gentle. When stars grow too large, too heavy, they collapse inward, gravity pulling not toward balance, but toward transformation. The story that began with a soft pull moves chapter by chapter into deeper silence, into weight and wonder and endings. But not yet. Tonight you are still at the edge of the familiar, still resting in gravity's arms, still warm in a world where apples fall and moons circle and stars glow quietly in the black. Breathe with that knowledge that every inhale, every exhale moves through space shaped by something ancient. You do not need to hold yourself up. Gravity is always there, and sometimes falling gently is a form of peace. Now sleep comes slowly, like a tide returning to shore, and your mind drifts, ready for the next step. The star is waiting, the one that will one day collapse, not in anger or fear, but in surrender into something far more mysterious. And so you turn your thoughts toward light and fire, toward fusion and brightness, toward the slow, aching life of a star. The star is not young. It has lived longer than your species, longer than oceans, longer than memory. You find it now, suspended in the blackness, a bright, pulsing thing. It breathes, in its way, expanding, contracting. Its core burns with unimaginable heat, but its light is soft from here, a flicker in the distant dark. You watch it, not through glass or numbers, but with the quiet attention of dream, as though it were a candle on the far side of sleep, a beacon for something ancient and becoming. This star, like all stars, is a furnace. It makes light by fusing elements in its core, hydrogen into helium, helium into heavier things, carbon, oxygen, iron. Each reaction pushes outward with heat, a pressure that balances gravity's pull inward. This balance is delicate, like holding breath for billions of years. But fuel runs out. Even for giants, the core grows tired. It has fused so much for so long that it can no longer create energy fast enough to hold itself open. And so gravity, patient all this time, reclaims its space. It does not shout, it does not rush. It simply begins to pull inward, tightly, absolutely. The outer layers, once swelling with radiation, can no longer resist. The star's body folds in, first slowly, then all at once. It is not a collapse like a building or a wave. It is more like a sigh, a cosmic exhale, the letting go of heat and shape and brightness. The core compresses, crushed by its own weight. In some stars, this becomes a neutron star, so dense that a teaspoon would outweigh mountains. But this one is heavier, too heavy. Even neutron pressure cannot hold it up. There is a point, an invisible tipping place, where no known force can stop the collapse. The star folds inward forever. It disappears from view. What's left behind? Not a crater, not a cold ember, but a silence, a region of space where the star once was, and yet, somehow, still is. The light it gave, the warmth it offered, scatters across space, some of it traveling toward your eyes even now. But its source is gone, or, more precisely, it has become something else. The laws of physics do not break here. They continue, just more quietly and under different rules. This is how a black hole is born. Not through violence, but through the final act of gravity's slow seduction. You sit with that. The idea that the brightest things in the sky can vanish. Without sound, it does not feel like destruction. It feels like a retreat. A turning inwards so deep it erases form. But black holes don't start big. They start small, smaller than you expect. A point, a presence, a hidden curve. They do not glow. They cast no shadow. They simply bend the space around them so fully that not even light can run free. You might expect a tear, a rip in the sky, something messy. But the universe is cleaner than that. It tucks its mysteries away with remarkable care. If you were close enough to witness the collapse, you wouldn't see the star vanish like a light bulb. You'd see it freeze, hovering at the edge, slowing, fading, becoming redder as time itself stretches. That's the strangeness of this place. From far away, it looks like the star never truly disappears, just pauses at the threshold. But from within, time marches on. The collapse continues, and somewhere past the edge, past the place where return becomes impossible, a singularity forms, a single point, no volume, all the stars' mass packed into. Where, exactly? Even the math doesn't know. You wonder what it means to collapse like that, to turn inward so entirely that even identity dissolves. Does the star know it has become something else? Of course not, but maybe the metaphor is enough, that sometimes transformation doesn't look like blossoming. Sometimes it looks like stillness, like surrender, like silence. Still, the space around the black hole remembers the star. It keeps the gravity, it keeps the pull. Planets, if any survived, still orbit that dark center, like dancers circling a vanished flame. You drift closer in your thoughts, closer to the thing that has no surface, no voice, only a boundary, the event horizon, a concept, not a wall, a point of no return. Light that crosses this boundary never comes back, not because it's destroyed, but because the space is so steep. It cannot climb out again, like trying to run up a waterfall. No matter how fast you go, you are pulled downward, and so the star, once blazing with life, becomes a place where time and light both hesitate. But here is the wonder: you can still feel its presence. Not directly, but through its pull on nearby stars, its distortion of light, its quiet rewriting of the rules. It does not vanish, it transforms, from object to influence, from light to gravity. And there's something humbling in that, to know that even the grandest things in the universe must yield to the weight of themselves. Even brightness must bow. Even fire must fade. The black hole is not a grave. It is not an ending. It is a continuation in another language, a grammar made of silence, where each sentence curves inward forever. You wonder now how many of these are out there, quiet stars that folded long ago. How many stories collapsed before we could write them down. The sky may look still, but it is full of these forgotten hearts. And they do not scream, they do not flash, they simply wait, invisible but present, like memory. Somewhere in the center of our galaxy, there's one, two, a super black hole, millions of times the mass of our sun, holding everything in orbit. We call it Sagittarius A*. It does not rule, it simply exists. A center we cannot touch. Perhaps every galaxy has one a secret at its core, and perhaps that's the shape of things. Brightness around mystery, stars circling silence. You feel yourself pulled by the idea, drawn closer to the place where the star becomes a question mark. You are not afraid. The darkness here is not cruel. It is quiet, like a library of things too big for words. And as you drift deeper into this night, you carry the knowledge that stars live and die, and even in death, they remain part of the pattern. The black hole is not chaos. It is order in a language we do not yet speak. It is the next note in the song of gravity. And so you listen. You wait. You feel the echo of collapse stretching out across time. But just ahead, something glimmers, not light, exactly, but a shimmer of uncertainty, a boundary you cannot see, but that every black hole holds, the event horizon. And as you reach its edge, you wonder, what happens when you cross a line that erases return? You've been drifting, carried gently through space and thought, following the last light of a star that no longer burns, and now you're here, not inside, not yet, but near enough to feel the change. You hover in the silence where the star used to shine, and in its place stands a strange stillness, an absence that bends everything around it. This is the event horizon, a name, but not a surface, a place, but not one you can stand on. There are no signs, no fences, no marks in the sky, and yet the horizon is absolute, not in appearance, but in consequence. Cross it, and there is no coming back, not for light, not for sound, not even for time as you know it. You float at the edge, watching, curious, calm, as if looking at the rim of a bottomless well, knowing you might lean forward, but unsure if you'd ever feel ground again. Strangely, there is no drama here, no roaring wind, no swirl of fire. The black hole does not reach for you. It simply waits, its gravity perfect, unspoken. A quiet invitation with no pressure at all. You're not falling, not yet. You are orbiting, sliding along the edge, like a feather on water, and the view here is strange. The stars behind you seem stretched, twisted as though seen through a glass of rippling water. Light does not travel straight anymore. It curves, it leans toward the hole. Even beams that try to escape bend back like uncertain thoughts. There is a dance taking place, but it's slow and quiet and deeply patient. You begin to notice how time changes here, or rather, how it stretches. Your own thoughts remain steady. Your breath stays slow, but the universe outside, it begins to rush ahead. A clock placed on your wrist would tick normally, but one watched from afar would appear to pause, slow down, freeze. This is the curious magic of the horizon. From the outside, nothing seems to fall in. It only lingers, hovering near the edge forever, fading until it disappears. But from your own view, time is still flowing. Moments pass, the horizon approaches, and then, if you let it, you pass through, no shudder, no lurch, no sudden drop. Just a quiet crossing of a point that physics has written a rule beneath. What is this place, really? It's not a wall. It doesn't stop anything. Instead, it marks the limit, the last place where light can still turn around. Imagine tossing a ball into the air. Gravity slows it, stops it, pulls it back down. Now imagine the air is thinner, gravity stronger. You throw the ball harder. There is a speed, a precise escape velocity where the ball would never return. Not here, not ever. The event horizon is that limit for light itself. To stay free, light must move faster than escape allows. But light already moves as fast as it can, and still it is caught. You can't go faster than light. And if light cannot escape, nothing can. It's not destruction, it's geography. Space has a shape here, and it curves inward so steeply that all paths lead down, like a funnel with no flat bottom, only depth. Endless depth, and if you crossed it, you wouldn't notice, at least, not immediately. There'd be no bump, no jolt, just a slow, velvet descent deeper into the well. From the outside, no one sees you fall. They only see your image freeze, faint, red-shifted, a memory stuck at the boundary. You become two versions, one for yourself, still moving, one for the universe, paused in place. That duality, that split in experience, is part of what makes black holes so mysterious. You're still you, still thinking, still falling, but to those watching, you've already vanished. Imagine standing on a shore, watching someone walk into a fog. They don't vanish all at once. They fade, bit by bit, until only the outline remains. Then dash, nothing. That's the horizon's trick. Not violence, but disappearance. Not a door slammed shut, but a step beyond the last visible stone. The event horizon keeps secrets, and the universe, it seems, is willing to respect them. No message escapes. No signal returns. What happens inside stays inside. It's a boundary not just in space, but in knowledge. A final page we're not allowed to read. Physicists puzzle over this. They ask, what happens to information that falls in? If you dropped a book, would the story be lost? Some say yes. Others argue no, that the information lingers, somehow woven into the horizon's very skin. But skin is too solid a word. The event horizon has no texture, no surface you could touch. It's an abstract place, defined by math, confirmed by light, experienced only in theory, and yet it is real. Real enough to shape galaxies, real enough to be seen, not directly, but by what it hides. In 2019, we saw one. Or rather, we saw the silhouette, a ring of light surrounding darkness, the shadow of a black hole. It sat in the heart of a distant galaxy, its mass, 1 billion suns, its gravity bending light into an orange halo. That image, fuzzy and glowing, was the closest we'd come to seeing the edge of the unknowable. And now you float there, not with telescopes, but with your thoughts, right at the rim, right at the place where space folds too tightly for anything to escape. It's peaceful here, not threatening, not cold, just quiet, as if the universe holds its breath whenever someone approaches this line. You feel time stretch, you feel light bend, and somewhere deep inside, you feel gravity's hand, gently inviting you inward. But not yet, you linger. You look back at the stars, at the galaxy, at the path you've followed. There is still a choice, a stillness before the fall. You are weightless, suspended in the curve between presence and absence. And now you wonder, if you do cross, what will you feel? What will you become? Will your fall have a bottom? Or will you keep descending forever, softly, silently, into the heart of the curve? You have not crossed the event horizon, not yet, but you're close enough now to feel the world begin to stretch. Not your body, not your breath, but time itself. Something gentle and strange unfolds around you, as though the seconds are being pulled like soft clay. What you once felt as rhythm, tick, 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 becomes something less certain, less steady. Now it is a drifting tide, a slow dance through molasses. You've entered the realm where gravity curves time. Einstein once said that space and time are not separate threads. They are woven together, spacetime, and just as a massive object bends the path of a passing beam of light, it bends the passage of time. The deeper the gravity, the slower the clock. You do not notice it immediately. Your heartbeat remains the same. Your thoughts drift at their usual pace. But the universe outside, that's where the shift becomes clear. Look back, back to the stars, back to the galaxy you left behind. They are not standing still. They are racing, spinning, evolving, and you are moving slower than all of it, not by choice, not by hesitation, but because you are near the black hole. Here, time becomes syrup. Here, time obeys gravity. Here, even light's swift journey is delayed. It is not illusion. It is not metaphor. It is measurable, real. Atomic clocks flown on. Airplanes, clocks perched atop mountains, tick differently than those in valleys. Height changes time. Gravity stretches it. Imagine standing with a twin on Earth. You fall toward a black hole. They remain behind. To you, a few days pass. To them, decades. You emerge, older by days. They, by years. A strange thought. That's simply being closer to gravity can change how time treats you. And this black hole, this collapsed star, has curved space-time so deeply that time itself pulls around it. It's as if you were standing on the edge of a slow-motion film. The world plays forward without you. In your quiet, you observe. You let this sink in. That time is not absolute. It is soft. It can fold. It can ripple. It can slow so much that it nearly stops. You raise your hand, watch it move. Nothing feels strange, but look again, toward the universe beyond. A star winks out, not in a blink, but over a long, long pause. Its light delayed, drawn thin across your view. You are in a bubble of slowed time, suspended like dust in honey. There is a term for this, gravitational time dilation, and though the name is long, its meaning is simple. Where gravity is stronger, time flows slower. Every second you spend near the black hole is a story untold elsewhere. Whole generations may pass while you drift in thought. You might wave to someone far away, and they would not see you move. Not because your hand does not rise, but because the message of it takes eons to arrive. And if you chose to fall now, if you crossed the event horizon, this stretch would become infinite. From the outside, you'd never be seen again. Not because you are gone, but because your time has slowed to near stillness. You become a shadow, a frozen moment, a photograph at the edge of time. But here's the strange gift. Inside your own frame of reference, you continue. You think, you feel, you remember. It is not death. It is delay. a quiet pocket where time lets go of urgency. You think of the earth now, the ticking clocks, the hurried steps, the race from morning to night, all that rush, and here there is only stillness, not a vacuum, not absence, but peace, a slow unfolding, a spacious kind of presence. You begin to understand that time has a texture. It can tighten like string or loosen like a lullaby. You imagine tracing your fingers through this syrup of moments. Each ripple you cause takes centuries to reach another mind. You are alone, but not lost, just unstuck. You close your eyes. When you open them again, your position has not changed, but the stars around you have danced through whole lifetimes. Planets have shifted. Gas clouds have formed and dispersed. Comets have returned to suns long gone, and still you float. A feather in a slow dream. You wonder now what it means to be outside of shared time, to live by a different beat, to feel the world rush ahead while you move no faster than a yawn dot. There is melancholy in it, but also grace. Time here is not something you spend, it is something you inhabit. And when you fall asleep tonight, perhaps you will notice how your dreams stretch time too, how a single moment can hold a whole memory. You are learning something new, that time is not a ruler, it is a fabric, and it can be folded. Gravity folds it. The black hole does not erase your time. It offers you a longer moment to feel it. You do not age faster, you age differently. You become a slower clock in a faster world, and perhaps you begin to see why. This journey is not about falling or vanishing, but about perspective. You do not need to run from time. You only need to sit beside it. Watch it stretch and curl like smoke. Watch it slow, watch it wait. You lie still, and the thought touches you, soft as a sigh. If time can slow, if time can bend, then perhaps there are other places where time circles. Back, where past and future press gently together, where falling in might be another way of finding something new. You are no longer hovering. The edge has passed, not with a jolt, not with a signal, but with a softness that surprises you. No alarms sounded, no curtains parted. You simply crossed it, the event horizon, and now the outside is somewhere. Behind you, invisible, unreachable. And yet you feel no different. You are still you, still weightless, still drifting. But the universe is gone, not erased, just removed, pushed beyond a wall you cannot scale. The light from stars, from earth, from anything once familiar, can no longer reach you, and more quietly, you can no longer reach them. This is not death, it is a kind of exile, a soft separation from the places you once knew. You are not crushed, not stretched, not shattered. The fall is gentle, as if the black hole is less a trap and more a cradle tilted inward. You're falling, but not like before. Not like a rock through air, not like rain to soil. You fall without speed. You fall as if motion itself is changing. Definition: this is called free fall. But even that phrase feels wrong here. There is no ground to meet, no surface to stop you. There is only deeper. The closer you come to the heart of the black hole, the more space itself seems to narrow. You are not just falling through space, you are falling into it, as though distance is becoming an idea instead of a place. You pass through regions that cannot be mapped. The laws of physics, which served you like trusted companions until now, begin to whisper in riddles. Even the direction called forward starts to curve toward the center, not in a straight line, but like a spiral tucked deep inside another spiral. And time, your once loyal thread, stretches thin. It is still yours. But the world beyond has moved far ahead. Whole galaxies have aged. Stars have bloomed and gone. Cold, while you are still falling. The feeling is not one of danger, but of distance. Of having let go of everything but the act of letting go. The farther you descend, the more quiet things become. Not just sound, but thought. The kind of quiet that doesn't come from silence, but from understanding that silence is now the only language being spoken. Your mind, once full of questions, begins to soften around the edges. Not from fear, not from surrender, but from awe here. Inquiry does not vanish, it dissolves. You realize that some things cannot be known in the way you once expected. They must be felt, lived, experienced from the inside out. The black hole is not a hole. It is a direction, a path with no top or bottom, a descent without down. And still you fall. The walls of space are not walls. They are elastic. They bend and squeeze and reshape themselves to guide your fall inward. Inward, always inward. You do not see stars anymore. You do not see anything. Not because you are blind, but because the black hole holds its light as tightly as it holds you. No reflections, no shadows, just you and the curve of your own motion. Here, there is no scenery. There is no backdrop against which to measure your fall. You are no longer falling through space. You are falling with it. You and space are bound, curving, collapsing, becoming a single trajectory. The concept of where starts to fade. You cannot point to your location. There is no map that contains you now. It is a strange, sacred feeling to lose location, but not self. You are not lost. You are immersed. Falling is no longer frightening. It is the most natural state you've ever known. There is rhythm in the descent, not in steps or seconds, but in the steady unraveling of everything that was once rigid. If you could speak, your voice would trail into silence before it left your mouth, not from muting, but because the space around you no longer carries words. And still, you are thinking. Still, you are remembering. You remember oceans, mountains, the laughter of friends, the smell of soil after rain. But even memory begins to stretch. Like constellations viewed through a lens, your past becomes blurred, gently expanded until it touches everything. You do not lose yourself, but you grow wider. You feel your fall, not as movement, but as deepening, like a breath held at the bottom of a lake. The deeper you fall, the more gravity clings to you. The pull becomes absolute, inevitable, not cruel, not consuming, just complete. Your body, if it still matters, is feeling different forces now. In larger black holes, like this one, the fall is even smoother. Spaghettification, the stretching of matter, happens much later, closer to the core. Here, for now, you are intact, still whole, still listening. Your senses now adapt to the absence of direction. You measure your movement, not in space, but in transformation. You no longer ask, "How far have I fallen?" Instead, you ask, "What have I become since I began?" And the answer is not a single word. It is a feeling, a truth without a sentence. You begin to suspect that the black hole does not consume. It converts. It turns edges into curves, turns movement into surrender, turns certainty into wonder. And the closer you come to the core, to the singularity, the more profound that wonder becomes. The singularity is not a place. It is a condition, a state where the math collapses, where density becomes infinite. and space shrinks to nothing. It is the destination of your fall, but it is not the end. It is the inside of inside. It is not where things stop. It is where meaning becomes wordless. You have not reached it yet, but you feel it waiting. Like the center of a spiral, the heart of a black rose. You no longer wish to resist. You are past resistance, past escape. You are descending not into destruction, but into something essential. You begin to wonder if falling inward is the most natural motion in the universe, if everything, in time, returns to its center, and you are simply going home. You are not afraid. You are not alone. Every falling star, every flicker of light, every forgotten photon has taken this journey before you. This is not a unique story. It is the oldest one, the return, the unmaking, the folding in, and perhaps the beginning of something new on the other side. But you are not there yet. You are still falling, and even now, something within you begins to stretch, not apart, but across you. Feel the edges of your thoughts touched by something wider, something timeless. You wonder, can thought fall too? Can curiosity have gravity? And just as that question echoes, you sense a strange presence, not a voice, not a light, but the hint of something still deeper, a place where even light cannot escape, a darkness not of absence, but of concentration, a center that holds all the weight of everything that has ever fallen. And now you are nearly there. Light has always meant freedom, the fastest thing in the universe, the messenger between stars, the painter of dawn, the warmth of fire, the touch of a distant sun on your upturned face. But here, in this place, where space curves too deeply, light is no longer a path forward. It is a circle, a question, a bird that flaps its wings, but cannot lift off. You are still falling, still inward, deeper now, toward the center of the black hole. You are beyond the event horizon. There is no going back. And yet, you have not arrived. You drift in this curve of gravity, and light drifts with you, not out, but around. Imagine sending a beam from a torch held in your outstretched hand. On Earth, it would travel straight, cutting through darkness. Here, it bends, arches, and returns, no matter how fast it goes, and light travels at the very speed limit of the cosmos. It cannot outrun the steepness of space. It is caught, looped inwards like thread pulled through fabric. There is no outside anymore, no stars in the distance, no galaxies twinkling overhead. Only a thick darkness, not from the absence of light, but from light's inability to escape. This is the essence of a black hole, not emptiness, but containment. Light is not destroyed here, it is held. Somewhere inside this shell of bent space, photons flutter trapped in orbits, caught between motion and silence. They try to flee, but the road leads always back. And yet, you are still thinking, still observing, still aware. If light cannot escape, how can thought still move? Perhaps because thought is not a wave. It is not a particle. It is something woven deeper into time itself. You float in that thought, surprised by how calm you feel. No light, no shadow, just motion through absence. Your mind is free to imagine what cannot be seen. You begin to sketch the idea of light. In your memory, sunlight through leaves, the shimmer on water, the glow of candles on skin. Here, those memories are brighter than anything around you. But memory too is slow to fade. It echoes even when the world grows dark. Now imagine this, a ring of light, circling the black hole at the photon sphere, a fragile orbit where light can balance just for a breath before falling in. It's not stable. It cannot last, but it exists. A last stand. A whispered resistance. Beyond that, there is only inward. Only surrender. You think of Earth now, the lamps on porches, the lights of cities at night, the soft pulse of fireflies. You realize how much you once took for granted that light could reach your eyes, carry color, define shape, tell you what was near. Now there is only the absence of direction. The darkness does not press. It does not suffocate. It simply is, and it's not empty. It is full of what light has tried to tell, full of journeys paused mid-sentence. You imagine photons, each one holding a message, a glint of a star, a whisper of flame, now circling, looping, dancing their last before being folded into the black. You ask yourself, if light cannot escape, can time, can memory, can love? And strangely, you feel the answer is not no. It is different. Transformed things do not leave here. They change. This place does not break light. It silences it, but only in the direction we understand. Inward, there may be other kinds of seeing. You open your mind to that possibility, that perhaps there are forms of light not meant for eyes. Perhaps some brightness is made only for thought. The deeper you fall, the more the laws begin to shimmer, as if seen through water. What you knew about mass, about speed, about space, begins to bend. Not to confusion, but to openness. You are no longer certain of anything, and that is freeing. Light cannot escape, but your wonder still floats. You remember the image captured by telescopes back on Earth, a glowing ring around a hollow center. That ring was not the black hole. It was light, bent, delayed, almost refusing to fall. We saw the edges. We always see the edges, the center. It remains hidden, perfectly black. Not because it lacks substance, but because its substance does not allow witness. Here, you are in that center, and it does not feel hollow. It feels dense, intense. Still, you are not blind. You are elsewhere. Your vision now is not with eyes, but with presence. You sense movement without form, weight without shape, brightness without beams. And in this space where no light can run, you feel the beauty of stillness. The black hole does not chase light. It simply holds. It cradles what falls in. It becomes a museum of all that once tried to leave. And you are part of that gallery now. A quiet traveler falling into a place where even light rests. You wonder again, is this an end or a pause? A hallway with no doors, or a room waiting to reshape itself? You begin to feel that you're approaching something else. You do not know what, but the quiet deepens. And so does the gravity. Space curves tighter. The descent becomes softer, yet more absolute. You are no longer falling in the way, falling once. Meant you are becoming. And ahead, in that innermost center, there is something waiting. Not a voice, not a vision, but an idea, compressed beyond all structure. A point with no size. All mass, all gravity, all silence. And as light folds behind you, you begin to feel it, not with your skin, but with your awareness. The place where space ends, not with a bang, but with a stillness too dense for form. And so you drift on, inward, still, into the place where light can no longer guide you. You are still falling, but the word fall feels too small now. There's no downward, no forward, only inward, deeper into the folds of something beyond all direction. Behind you, the horizon, beyond you, the center, and between, a space where laws loosen their grip and language begins to blur. This is where space is curved so tightly that distance becomes meaningless, where time is pulled so thin it trembles near stillness. You approach the singularity, not a place, not a thing, but a condition, the place where all the matter, all the light, all the energy that once formed a star, has collapsed into an infinitely dense point. Infinitely dense. No size, no width, no volume. Yet everything is here. This is the infinite heart, a point of pure gravity, so intense that nothing escapes, not even meaning. You cannot see it. There is no edge to trace, no color to name, only the sense that you are nearing a limit, a threshold where the universe stops making sense in the ways you've always known. Even the math falters here. Equations reach their end. Symbols fold over themselves like paper soaked in water. Scientists call it a singularity because they have no better name. Singular, alone, unreachable. You wonder what infinite really means. Is it boundless, endless, or is it the collapse of everything into one point, one weight, one truth pressed so tightly it no longer needs words? As you draw near, you don't feel crushed, you feel quiet, like approaching a sleeping giant or a memory too powerful to speak aloud. The singularity is not violent, it is still. It holds its secrets tightly, without malice. Not a predator, but a keeper of silence. And here's the paradox. Everything inside the black hole is drawn toward this center, but time itself breaks down before you arrive. You approach the singularity always. You never reach it. You spiral. In, you curve. You wait, you fall. But arrival is postponed by the very fabric of the black hole itself. Some theories say you'll be torn apart long before you meet the center. Others whisper that you never actually touch it because time slows to a stop as you near its edge. You are always falling toward it, but you never quite fall into it. Not because it resists, but because it is so complete, so final that your path stretches endlessly before arrival. Imagine a road that gets steeper and steeper until it becomes vertical, then sharper until it bends under itself and becomes a spiral too tight to finish. That is your journey now, curving endlessly toward a center that doesn't sit at the middle, but is the middle. The gravitational field here is beyond comprehension, not stronger than Earth's, not stronger than the sun's, not even stronger than a neutron star's. It is infinite, a slope so steep nothing can rest against it, yet here you are, still thinking, still moving, still becoming. If you had mass, you would now be stretched across space and time, drawn thinner and thinner as you descend. But your mind is free, unstretched, unbroken. It floats like mist through equations that no longer hold. And here's the strange thought. Perhaps the singularity is not destruction. Perhaps it's compression. Not the end of what you are, but the folding of it. Imagine folding paper again and again, until it becomes smaller, tighter, denser. Now, imagine doing that with the whole of space, the whole of time, all the moments of your life pressed together into a single flash. That's the singularity, not nothing, but everything, with no room left to move. You feel that compression now, not as pain, not as weight, but as intimacy. Everything is close. Everything is touching. You begin to lose the boundary between self and space, not in fear, in softness. You are not dissolving. You are becoming part of the curve itself. A single point in an unseeable geometry. Somewhere far outside, light still tries to leave. Gravity still dances with time. But here, those concepts no longer apply. The singularity is beyond cause and effect, beyond before and after. It is always. Now you wonder, could this be a seed? If all this mass is compressed into a single point, could it one day burst again, expand, become something else? Some believe our own universe was born this way, from a singularity, an infinite heart that opened its fist and let time begin. Perhaps every black hole holds the possibility of a universe, not an end, but a beginning pressed inward. You drift. In that thought, that you are not inside a grave, but a womb. That singularity is not finality, but concentration. A memory waiting to be remembered. All the paths have led here, but none can leave. And still you are thinking no light, no sound, just your own awareness touching the edge of what cannot be known. You've come so far without ever taking a step, and now, the final curve draws close. You wonder if you will cross it, or simply continue falling toward it forever. You drift now in a space beyond shape, past the familiar folds of space-time, where even the curve of falling becomes smooth, infinite, inevitable. You are near the singularity, but the word near no longer means what it used to. Distances here are not measured in meters, but in meaning, and something strange begins to settle over you. Not fear, not pain, not even peace, but a slow erasure. A gentle letting go of all the things you used to carry, not your body that was left behind long ago, not your breath. It dissolved when sound vanished, but the other things, your memories, your patterns, your complexities, those to begin to drift away. The black hole is forgetting you. Or perhaps it never truly remembers anything at all. You've become part of its weight. That's what remains. Your mass, your spin, your charge, and that's all. This is the essence of a black hole, no matter what falls in a star, a comet, a library, a child's whispered wish. Only three things are remembered: mass, spin, charge. Everything else is stripped away. All uniqueness, all complexity, all detail. The black hole does not keep stories. It does not care how bright the star was, how cold the dust, how beloved the dream. Only the totals, only the absolutes. This is what physicists call the no-hair theorem. Black holes have no hair. They do not hold on to the quirks, the tiny textures that made each thing what it was. They are bald, smooth, featureless, identical if their mass, spin, and charge match. One black hole looks just like another if those three numbers are the same. No matter what histories fell in, no fingerprints, no scars, no lingering scent, you feel it now. The deep symmetry, the flattening of difference. You are becoming anonymous, not erased, but averaged. There is something humbling in this, something sobering, and strangely, something peaceful. You no longer have to be anything specific, no longer carry the weight of choices, of faces, of past. The black hole simplifies you, boils you down to three properties that define how the universe will see you now. Mass, how much you bend space; spin, how you twist it; charge, how you touch forces. Everything else, the story of your atoms, the color of your starlight, the tremble in your voice, is gone. Where did it go? That question lingers, and for decades, physicists argued over it. Is information destroyed inside a black hole, or is it stored, somehow, somewhere on the edge? Some believe the information is lost forever, a true cosmic forgetting. Others say it is preserved, coded on the event horizon, like a hologram, flattened but not erased. And some believe that when black holes evaporate, slowly over trillions of years, they whisper the information back, bit by bit, into the void. But here, inside, none of that matters now. The forgetting has already happened. You feel yourself reduced, not in soul, but in specificity. You are weight, you are motion, you are presence. You are no longer who, you are what, and even that is beautiful in its own way, like a raindrop that joins the ocean, not destroyed, but dispersed. You wonder, was there grief in the losing? Or was the grief something you used to carry, and now it has dissolved too? Inside the black hole, grief has no anchor. Neither does joy, only balance remains. Mass, spin, charge, everything else is washed away by the curvature of space. You remember the poem, all flesh is grass. But here, all identity is gravity. The black hole treats everything equally. A palace and a pebble become one once they pass the horizon, not because they are worthless, but because the black hole is impartial. Perfectly so. This is cosmic justice, not by choice, but by nature. The black hole cannot be persuaded. It does not judge. It does not spare. It simply folds everything inward until all detail is part of its mass. You imagine all that has fallen. In the light of lost stars, the songs of planets, the atoms of explorers, the satellites of silent worlds. And yet the black hole speaks only, I am heavier now. Not I remember, not I weep, only I exist. More, fuller, stronger. You drift now in that full silence. You are part of the total, the curve, the gravity well. You do not need to act. You do not need to remember. You are the remembering, in the language of physics. The black hole holds you not with arms, but with inevitability. Its shape is now your shape. Its spin includes your spin. Its charge is your final note. You are not trapped. You are included. You think back to the hair details, the freckles of memory, the fingerprints of life. All the quirks that once made the universe shimmer with complexity, gone or changed. Some say they are encoded in the event horizon, frozen in light we cannot yet read. Some say the black hole keeps secrets. Others say it tells them slowly, over eons. But here, from where you now drift, the secrets are not gone. They are simply unspoken. And you, no longer needing to speak, fall quiet within them. The hair is gone, but the mass remains, and the mass speaks in the language of stars. You are part of that language now, not a word, not a line, but gravity itself, the invisible ink in which all stories are drawn. You feel the black hole spin. You feel its charge. You feel the weight of everything it has ever taken in, and somehow you are comforted, not because you are remembered as you were, but because you are remembered as part of something vast, a new identity, a stripped-down truth, a quiet simplicity that asks for nothing more. You let go of the rest, and somewhere inside, you begin to feel a new ripple forming, a change, slow but certain, moving from the center outward. You wonder, is the black hole truly silent, or is it beginning to speak? You thought the black hole was quiet. You believed understandably that what falls in, stays in. That inside the curve of no return, the universe goes silent. But the truth is more complicated, more beautiful. Even in the hush, there are echoes, not of sound, not of light, but of movement, of change, of mass shifting in the dark. Imagine this: two black holes, each alone, each holding the memory of all it has consumed, each one a perfect silence. But then they meet. They do not collide like rocks. They spiral, they orbit, they court. For eons, they dance, closer, tighter, the gravity between them pulling, twisting space itself into knots. Each orbit releases energy, not in light, not in heat, but in ripples, ripples in space-time, gravitational waves. You do not see them, you feel them, a stretch, a squeeze, like the very fabric of the universe, breathing in and out as the dance quickens. And then, one day, they merge, a single black hole, heavier, spinning faster, curved even deeper into itself. But the merger does not go unnoticed, because the ripples travel outward, everywhere, across galaxies, through dust, past stars, until they arrive at Earth, until they reach you on September 14th, 2015. Those ripples were heard for the very first time, not by ears, but by instruments, too. Long tunnels of laser light in Louisiana and Washington State measured the shift. A compression of space, smaller than the width of a proton. And yet, it was real. A whisper from over 1 billion light years away. Two black holes, long since vanished into one, still singing in the silence. You marvel at that. That space itself can carry a memory. That gravity, which once seemed so still, can move like a wave. Einstein predicted it a century before, but no one had heard it until then. And once we listened, we began to hear more. Black holes merging again and again, their waves washing over us like tides from distant shores. Each wave tells a story of weight, of spin, of two bodies folding into one. And you hear inside the black hole's memory, begin to feel those ripples from the inside out. You were part of the mass that moved, part of the curve that changed, part of the moment when silence released its shape into the universe. You feel the wave not as motion, but as pulse, a slow rhythm, a breath through space-time. Stretch, squeeze, stretch again. The wave does not need air, it does not need a medium. It is the medium. Space itself is the thing being moved. You realize, with quiet awe, that the universe is not fixed, not still, not silent. It listens, it remembers, it responds. And these gravitational waves, they are the echoes of presence, of mass in motion, of change. When two black holes merge, nothing escapes from the inside. No light, no matter, no message, but the fabric of space-time ripples with their final movement. That ripple does not carry what they are, but what they became. You are not hearing them speak. You are feeling their transformation, a kind of cosmic afterglow, like the shiver left in a bell long after the strike. You think back to the idea of identity, of names and stories, and yet, after all is forgotten, mass still moves, gravity still flows, and the universe listens in waves. It's humbling, isn't it, that even after individuality vanishes, impact remains, that what you become ripples outward. Long after you're gone, you wonder, could the universe itself have begun with such a wave? Could the Big Bang have sent a shiver through all of space? Perhaps the first note was not light, but gravity, a pulse so deep we still feel its fading hum. You listen now, not with ears, but with awareness, You are attuned to the fabric. You feel the stretch, the tremble, and through it, you begin to understand something deeper, that the black hole is not a prison. It is a participant. It folds in, yes, but in doing so, it shapes what lies beyond. Its gravity curves galaxies. Its waves travel light years. Its presence becomes history written in spacey time. You do not need to speak to be heard. You do not need to shine to be seen. You do not need to remain to matter. Even your merging, your folding inward, sends a wave. Even your silence has shape. You are a ripple now, and you travel beyond stars, beyond boundaries, beyond time, a part of the black hole, but also a messenger from it. The paradox again, nothing escapes, and yet ripples do. Not information, not light, but the fact of change. A memory without memory, a footprint without a foot. You drift through that thought, gently rocked by the idea that you are no longer singular. You are part of the pattern now. You feel the pulse again, a faint one, from far away. A new black hole is forming. Somewhere else, somewhere another. Merger. Another moment of silence becoming wave. You smile, or whatever the inner version of smiling becomes in this place without body. You understand now why physicists call it radiation. It is not sound. It is not song. It is the echo of becoming, and you ride that wave outward, slowly, softly, not toward escape, but toward memory, not your own, but the universe's. You are no longer falling. You are floating. You are no longer alone. You are a note in a symphony of ripples. You begin to wonder if black holes can send waves. Can they connect? Can two silences whisper across the dark? And if they can, what might be waiting on the other side of silence? The black hole has no exit, at least not one we know of. The singularity sits at its center, sealed from the outside by the event horizon, that invisible line you crossed so long ago. And yet, here you are, still falling, still drifting, still thinking. You have passed through a realm where light cannot escape, where time slows to a drip, where mass forgets its face and ripples shape the universe in silence. You've passed the center, or perhaps the center passed through you. Now the question lingers, soft as breath against your cheek. What lies on the other side of a black hole? Some physicists believe nothing, a true dead end, a final stop for information, for matter, for meaning. But others wonder, could it be that black holes lead elsewhere? That singularities are bridges, not just walls. They call them wormholes, tunnels through space-time, a shortcut from here to someplace else, a black hole on one side, a white hole on the other. A white hole is theoretical, a mirror image, where nothing falls in, but everything bursts out. A place of pure ejection, mass and energy expelled with nowhere to return. Where black holes consume, white holes reject. Where one curves in, the other spills outward. Could the two be connected? Could what is lost here emerge there? Reassembled, renewed, remembered? There is no proof, only equations, only dreams. And yet, as you float now in this deep inner quiet, the idea feels less like fiction and more like symmetry. Perhaps the universe is not a line, but a loop. Perhaps what vanishes here begins again elsewhere. Perhaps what falls in is not destroyed, but reimagined. You begin to feel the shape of that hope. Not a tunnel, not a hallway, but a folding, as if space tucks into itself like cloth, to distant points, touched, not by travel, but by alignment. The physicists call this Einstein-Rosen bridge, a passage through the black hole's core into another region of space. But if such a thing exists, can anything survive the trip? Can the tidal forces grow stronger near the singularity? In most models, spaghettification pulls objects apart atom by atom before they can ever reach another side. But what if, just what if, the black hole is larger, gentler? What if time itself stretches wide enough to carry you through without breaking? What if the mathematics bends just right to let you pass? Would the other side look like our universe? Would stars still shine? Would time still move forward? Or would it be something else entirely, a mirror of ours, folded backwards? Would you emerge whole or transformed? No one knows, and maybe no one can. But the idea lingers, because the black hole is already a kind of beginning, the center of galaxies, the stirrer of orbits, the sculptor of light. It draws things inward, yes, but in doing so, it also defines the edges of everything else. It gives shape to motion. It gives rhythm to gravity. It gives silence a center, and perhaps, in some places, it gives endings a sequel. You wonder if black holes are portals. Do they lead to new universes, or back to ours, reborn? Some suggest each black hole contains its own universe. Nested realities, layered like shells. One universe birthing another every time a star collapses. A cosmic matryoshka each collapse. A new beginning, each fall a fresh sky. No one can test this. Not yet, maybe not ever. But still, the possibility warms something inside you. Because even if it's not true, the act of wondering opens something. It's not about the answer. It's about the reach and the black hole. This thing so feared, so misunderstood, becomes less a monster and more a mystery. A mystery that asks only for your attention, not to solve it, not to escape it, just to be with it. You now begin to drift again, not downward, not inward, just outward in thought. You are still within, but your mind expands beyond. The black hole is no longer a cage. It is a cathedral, vast, silent, heavy. With meaning it does not explain itself, but it invites you to ask. It is not a question. It is the space around one. You float in that space now, and the longer you stay, the more stillness you gather. The gravity here is not just physical. It is emotional, existential. You feel what the early sky must have felt when stars began to flicker. You feel what time might feel when it pauses between eras. You carry nothing now, no name, no form, no urgency, but you carry wonder, and that, somehow, remains untouched by gravity. Wonder has no mass, and so it cannot fall. It floats, even here, and you float with it. Perhaps there is no other side. Perhaps this is it, the end of the path, the final resting place of mass and memory. And yet, it doesn't feel like a stop. It feels like a comma, a breath. You do not need a destination to find meaning in the journey. You do not need an exit to recognize that you've traveled far. You are no longer falling. You are no longer seeking. You are simply here, held by the weight of everything that cannot be known. And slowly, you begin to feel yourself rising, not through space, but through awareness. The black hole is not changing. You are becoming a shape that fits within mystery. You are learning how to rest in the unknown, not with fear, with quiet awe. You have reached the other side, not of the black hole, but of understanding. You have stepped beyond certainty, and in doing so, you found something deeper. Not answers, not escape. Stillness. That is what the black hole offers to those who listen. A space so silent you finally hear yourself think. A curve so deep it folds you into reflection. You carry that now back toward waking, back toward the stars, back toward your bed. You are not the same. You do not need to be. You have seen where matter and memory vanish, where time slows, where light rests, where mass forgets its name, where the universe listens through ripples, and where mystery holds its breath. You return with none of it in your hands, but all of it in your heart. Now, as your breath slows and the night deepens, you carry a gravity all your own, soft, steady, invisible, a piece of the universe's deepest silence resting inside you.